Welcome to Heart Home Community's most recent Baldwinsville Community Update. I'm your host, Shelley Hoffman. Hello again, everybody. If you were with us, 3 minutes ago, Chief, we started, but then police, for some reason, police stuff took over. I don't know how that could possibly happen in your line.
Yeah, unfortunately, the officer on duty is on an investigation where she needed to talk to me about something. So I do apologize, but those things couldn't be controlled. So
no, absolutely. And actually, we were saying how we haven't talked in a couple months because last month we were going to go live, and not that it's any of our business, my business necessarily, but I know that you were doing police. You were on the job kind of at the last minute last month too. So
yes.
Is that a sign that things are getting busier, or just we have had bad timing recently?
I'm just going to say bad timing, but we have been busy as well. So there has been a lot going on, and that's some of the things we're going to talk about. So there has been number of things happening in the village that has kept our staff quite busy. And but I did want to start out with, I don't know if you saw our Facebook post from last week. We swore in our newest officer who comes to us. He had grown up in the Rome area and then had worked as a police officer down in Virginia for a couple years. And he and his family wanted to come back up here to Central New York. His fiance's family was living here in Baldwinsville. So he had reached out to us, and it worked out well that we were getting someone with a little bit of experience. We had to do a lot of training for him to meet New York State standards. It's just the training that DCJS, the Division of Criminal Justice Services, mandates that someone receive. We were kind of fortunate in the sense that we had one of our officers on light duty over the summer because she was pregnant. So she was a general topics instructor, so she did a lot of the instructing for the course material, and we had hired him part-time, and then he took the test and passed it, and we were able to put him on full-time. But I swore him in last Thursday at the board meeting officially. He'd been sworn in an unofficial capacity just in my office for some time, so he wasn't working not sworn in, but someone commented on our Facebook post that he should have shaved. And I responded back that actually what happened this year is our staff wanted to participate in No Shave November. So what I allowed everyone to do if they wanted was they could donate $50, and I donated the money as well. I just chose to continue shaving.
I was going to say, are you able to grow something there, Chief, or you just chose not to?
So I chose not to. Last year, when I had COVID, I went about 8 days without shaving, just to see what it would be like, because I obviously didn't have to come in, and I was at home. So quarantining, I said, all right, I'm not going to shave. After about the 8th day, I had enough of that. And so I said, no, I'm not doing that again. I'll just continue to shave probably for the rest of my life. And so I paid the money. So what we allowed, obviously, is our male officers to not shave. And then for our female officers, they could wear their hair in a manageable length ponytail and paint their fingernails any color. So, within reason, as long as it looked professional. And because traditionally our officers have had, female officers had to wear their hair up in a bun. So we allowed that. And almost everyone participated. And we're going to donate the money to a local charity. I just have to talk to the charity and let the executive director know we're going to give her charity the money. You could probably figure out who it is. But it's a charity right here in the village that we have a connection with. And then what I did is I extended our grooming standard order out till the end of March. So the officers can continue to wear neatly trimmed beards. And it's something that if you look at a number of agencies across the country, they're allowing their staff to wear beards or even have visible tattoos. So that's something that I'll be evaluating over the next few months. I know a number of our officers are pleased about that decision that we're doing. So it was just, and I did actually, normally on Facebook or anything, I don't comment when people make a response. I don't respond back. But in this particular case, I did, just to let the person know, and anyone who else might have read the comments, that, hey, this is what this was being done for. And really it's just to raise awareness for cancer or any type of disease in general. And the money's going to go to a good cause. It kind of builds a little morale and esprit de corps amongst the staff here. And we're going to ensure that everyone's beards are neatly trimmed and that they look good. And it's not going to impact our level of service in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. So that's what we did.
I was going to ask you, why is it just in the past that it is always clean shaven? Was it more of an appearance thing? Is it
well, if you look at the, we're almost, all police organizations are really, paramilitary organizations. So they're based, in some ways regarding the military. Obviously, we all wear a uniform. There's uniform standards. There's grooming standards. So yeah, you have to have your hair neatly trimmed. Can't go past your ear. Women have to wear their hair up in a bun. Some of that is officer safety, but some of it is appearance as well. So everyone looks roughly the same, no matter who they might be dealing with. So yeah, it's all of those things. And obviously times have changed. One of the officers came to me, and I give her credit. She had a lot of policies from other agencies in the area, and said, hey, would you consider doing this? Would you consider maybe making some changes? Obviously, I've been here for 35 years. I'm a little stuck in my ways, but also I don't want to be that person that isn't afraid of new concepts or the way things are now. And I know a lot of agencies in the area allow beards and allow visible tattoos. So it's something I'm certainly going to take a look at. And I kind of worked with her and a couple other members of the organization, said, how about if we start with a No Shave November? Then we'll see how that goes. And then if that goes all right, I'll continue it through to the end of March. And that'll give me a little bit more time to evaluate and see how that goes. And then we can go from there. So that's why we're doing it. That's how we're doing it. I think it's been great, in my opinion. It hasn't impacted our level of service at all. And we're moving forward. So one of the things with this particular officer, Joe Serra is his name, seems like he's going to fit in real well. You can tell the age of some people when he was. We were talking a couple weeks ago at the police department. And the movie Die Hard came up, and he indicated that he had never seen the movie, and then said that he wasn't really into old movies.
How'd they make you feel, Chief? Just throwing it out there.
even everyone else. So I will say, even the people his age at the PD were incredulous that he hadn't seen it. And so I said, old movies. I said, well, are you familiar with like Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry? And he had no idea about those movies and said, Clint Eastwood, isn't he? And he was in Gran Torino. I saw that. I said, oh dear God. Like Outlaw Josie Wales or High Plains Drifter. And he looked at me like I had three heads, He had no. So, but the guys gave him so much grief. He went home on his 2 days off and watched Die Hard, so that way he could say he's seen it. So, nice. and then I gave him the business because a couple of the officers told me that he wasn't a huge fan of bacon. He didn't see what the big deal about bacon was, and had never eaten a Snickers bar. So during his turn in, we're giving him the business. I apologized to him afterwards, and he's like, Chief, it's all good. I go, you got to worry when we stop picking on you. When people stop picking on you, that's when you got to worry. So, but no, it looks like he's going to fit in real well. Good personality. I think the community will enjoy any level of service they receive from him. So that's always nice. In actuality, he replaces Sergeant Jim Sarankowski, who retired back at the end of January. So with the staffing issue the way it is and the numbers crunch, it's a difficult process and takes quite a while through training and then field training to have an officer back up on the road. So it's taken us probably 10, 11 months because he'll come off field training in the next week or two here and to get him fully up to speed. So that's how long it's taken. If we had to send someone to an academy and then field training, it would take a similar amount of time.
Wow. Well, and to your point, it needs to be a good fit, not just personality, someone you can joke around with, obviously, but a fit for the community, the force, and so it
Yeah.
sounds like you guys got yourself a good fit. I
Yeah,
did see the Facebook post, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, we're hopeful on that. So, and then obviously we've had a lot of other stuff going on. Our turkey trot on Thanksgiving Day, the Kiwanis Club puts that on. Uh, these next two events I'm going to talk about, I really have to single out Lieutenant Mike Lockwood, who does a tremendous amount of work writing operational plans, planning out traffic flow, traffic direction, traffic posts, working with the different organizations. And that's the turkey trot, which went off on Thanksgiving Day. Had a beautiful day for it. I know they were hoping for about 1,500 runners. And my first traffic post, I actually work a traffic post on that morning. I was down right there at Oneida Street and Genesee Street and Artillery Lane, right by the Red Apple. And I'm directing traffic there. And it's pretty cool to always observe the what I call a sea of runners coming down West Oneida Street at you. And there's a lot of people there. And then they head up Artillery, but it's pretty cool to see. And with the weather as beautiful as it was, that was really nice. And then 2 days later, of course, we had our parade of lights, followed by the Christmas tree lighting, and then the fireworks. So again, Mike Lockwood just did a tremendous job, and that event has grown in size and scope, both from participation and the number of people that are watching this. We involve.
Is there a way to see how many people? Just somebody asked me that if there's a way to track how many people, because it was so. We stood at 12 Oswego Street, my building, kind of up on the steps because I'm claustrophobic, and it was just rows and seas of people, and we were just curious if there's a way to have any idea of the number that attended.
Yeah, there's a couple ways to kind of gauge crowd size and stuff. One of the issues is I'm actually in the command post, which is far removed from the parade route itself. And I'm there with members of Onondaga County Emergency Management, Ambulance Corps, Fire Department. And the only part of the parade I get to see is we have a stick camera set up at Oneida and Oswego Street, right up by your old house. So I get to see the parade traveling east on Oneida Street, coming up to Oswego, and then as it heads south on 48. So all I really get to see is that, and then I get to see pictures of the crowd size, but I don't actually get to see the crowd because, again, I'm in the command post. But Mike Lockwood told me that there were just a sea of people, and he's driving around both before, during, and after, making sure he's the eyes and ears of the event. So it was quite sizable. There were a few thousand people there, no doubt about it. And so that has grown, and obviously it was a nice night. It wasn't snowing, it wasn't raining. I've worked traffic posts on that night as well, where it's been a little inclement. But again, it's grown to such a size that we've needed to set up a remote command post to manage that event. So like anything, every year there's always, as we triage it afterwards and do a post-race review and a post-parade review, we note that there's things that we're going to have to improve upon for next year, modify or change, so it's going to be a little bit better. And we'll work with the fire department on the parade, and then obviously the Kiwanis for the turkey trot. Like anything, it's tough to get people to help out and to get volunteers. So those events, they're great, but they require a lot of man hours and a lot of people to assist. So that's kind of where we are with those.
The one thing that I want to mention, just because it was out on social media and I saw it myself, when you guys are talking about the next day, I don't think, Chief, I've ever seen our village have so much garbage along the parade route. But again, kudos to our village, because by the time I got to work on Monday, it was cleaned up. So I don't know if it was Monday morning when they did it, but I know people were really sad for all the people that came into, the thousands of people that came in. Like, how hard is it to take your hot cocoa cup and with you when you leave? But they had mentioned like garbage cans or whatnot. But again, if you didn't come through the village on Sunday, you didn't see it because it was cleaned up by the time I got to work on Monday. So
yeah, so that's one of the things. Obviously, we talked in our public safety committee meeting on Wednesday, on Thursday, strike me last week, I've spoke with Chuck McAuliffe, the DPW superintendent. I spoke to the mayor about that. Obviously, some of it is, people didn't want to take their cups back with them. And I know a number of the local businesses were open, and that's great. But we did also talk about putting out a number of trash cans along the route, so on both sides of the road, and then hopefully we might be able to mitigate some of that. You're never probably going to mitigate all of it because people being what they are sometimes, but if we at least have some spots where people could put some trash, or even if the trash if the can got full, ended up next to it, that makes it a little bit less spread out and unpleasant on the eyes. But yeah, you're right. There was a lot of trash, and that's something as we look at a post parade review, and we look at, okay, what do we have to do for next year? Trash cans is clearly on the list of recommendations for us to put out a slew of those and hopefully mitigate some of that issue.
But a good problem to have, because that means how many people, again, came into the village. And
yeah, and then
I was just shocked.
And then obviously, the flip side of that, once it's over, could we have a crew spend an hour, just kind of go up and sweep the streets, so to speak, not necessarily with a street sweeper, but just a crew of people just work north to south and just pick up all the trash and get it into a truck and get it out of there and get it where it's got to go. So that way, Sunday morning, the village looks the way it should. So those are all things that will work cooperatively with the fire department, Northwest Fire District, the village, whether it be the DPW or anywhere else, and go from there.
I want to mention, I missed the comment, but the mayor told me I'm not supposed to ask you if things are ever quiet again. He said, don't ask him if things are quiet, probably jinxing you. But
we do not use the Q word. No, Q word does not get uttered in these parts, because as soon as it's mentioned, what breaks loose. So no, that word, and yeah, you've probably jinxed me for this week, I can assure you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And then on a real serious note, a couple of weeks ago, we had a woman and her husband who were walking their dog along the Southwest Trail. So if people aren't familiar, Water Street, where the old Lock 24, where Jeff Rogers' new Angry Smokehouse is going to be, right at the intersection with Canton, that's Water Street. So if you went down Water Street off of 48 and then, just continued to travel west towards Riverview Cemetery, that portion where all the boats dock up along the canal there is what's called the Southwest Trail. So one was walking their dog over there, and the dog ended up in the water. So the woman was trying to get the dog out of the water. She ended up in the water as well. Obviously, the water is very cold. And one of the things that is an issue there is there's no ladders along that stretch of the wall, so attached to the wall. So she couldn't get out. So our officers, along with a member of the sheriff's office, respond. Two of our officers, one of the new officer and Officer Zach McCaleb and Sergeant Kate Loveland from the Onondaga County Sheriff's, the three of them responded. We carry throw bags in our cars, which have rope all ready to go in them, and then the officer can hold the one end of the rope and then throw the bag to the person, and then as long as they can hold the rope, you can pull them in. So they were able to tie the rope, put the rope down, get it around the dog. The woman wanted the dog out. We got the dog out. We were able to get the woman out, and then obviously we were about hypothermia, so we took some steps to ensure that didn't set in, got medical personnel there, got her cold, wet clothes off of her, got her into a warm vehicle and then into an ambulance. And it was a real good amount of teamwork, because I have the video on that from the sheriff's deputy, because Officer McCaleb's body camera ended up in the Seneca River during the save. But that's the least of our worries. The main thing is to get her out and be safe. So I have talked to the mayor and village board to reach out to the Canal Corp to see what we have to do about some issues along there. And then we were going to look at that whole stretch, both the east and west side of 48, the bridge, to determine if this were to happen again, is it wise to have a couple ladders there that we could drag somebody over to, as long as they could hold on to a rope, we could pull them over. So those are all issues. And, our officer was trying to pull her and the dog up. You could see the other members holding onto his gun belt so he didn't fall in. One of the people wrapped the rope around her, the sheriff's sergeant, and backed up as our officers pulled to get the woman out. So, I mean, it was quite stressful, very fast paced, and real good cooperation to get her out of there. Real dangerous situation.
But she is okay?
She's fine. Yep, she's good. And so I have brought that up as a public safety issue. And again, I've been here 35 years and that issue hasn't come up, but obviously it did now. So hopefully it's another 35 years before we have to deal with that again. But if we do, if there's something there that we can help get somebody out of the water a little bit more quickly and efficiently, we want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So other than that, it's been busy. Our staff has been very active. Several DWI arrests and other types of cases going on, and it's been a busy time for us, and we're short staffed. We did have an officer that just had a baby, so she's going to be out till probably the first of the year. We have another member that is out with an injury and after some surgery and is healing up. So hopefully get that person back, but that person's going to be out a total of probably 4 or 5 months. That's a big blow to us. And then obviously Sergeant Sarankowski's retirement, but Officer Sarah will be coming, onto a patrol shift, onto the midnight shift here in the next week or two. So we've kind of been down 3 people, and that's a big percentage of our staff when you've got a small police force. So I really credit the other members of the department that have stepped up and worked some overtime, and it's been busy but productive, and we're looking for the holiday time period and then the start of 2023.
Nice. I do have one question. So what is it? Is it November 14th that you can't park on this overnight parking on the streets? Is that
November 15th? Yes.
November 15th. Okay.
From 1:30 to 6:30, somewhere along in there. Yeah.
So I know in the beginning you give warnings for that, just to kind of remind people. Is it like the first heavy snow when the parking tickets come, or is there another time period?
Yeah. So like we'll do that, and then when it starts snowing heavily, is we start issuing tickets because obviously the DPW is out plowing, and that inhibits their ability to clear the roads. So that's the reason for that. Is if we have vehicles parked there, then the DPW can't clear the roads. And some of our streets are wide. You look at North Street, very wide street. But then we have other streets that are pretty narrow. You look at Spruce and Pine and Walnut and some of those streets, they're narrow streets. And on the south side of the village, Seneca or Division Street, those are not wide streets. So if you had cars parked on both sides and then the plow couldn't get through, some of the fire trucks and emergency vehicles that need to get through there, that'd be tough going depending upon how much snow we got, what type of snow event it was. So that's the purpose for that. It allows those folks to come in and get the streets cleared. So we would just ask people to not park on the roadway. And once you kind of get into the winter, like we're in December now, so even if there's no snow, you still shouldn't be parked on a road.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Buffalo was hit, up north was hit.
Yeah.
We really haven't gotten that big. So I just didn't know if there was more of a time frame, like, okay, yeah, we haven't gotten snow yet, but any day.
No, we did get snow. If you remember, we did get snow.
I was in Florida when you got snow. I apologize.
Okay, yeah, life's tough. So no, we did get snow. So we have had a snow event. So we've started the warnings are over and we've started the actual ticket production. So
gotcha. Okay.
And then if need be, people can go argue their case to Judge Healing. So.
Gotcha. So, all right. Well, I know you had mentioned happy holidays already, so I'm assuming you've kind of shared everything with the community. Is there anything else you want to throw out?
Nope, that's it. That's Perfect. It. I guess all right, 2023.
I know. That's what I was going to say. It's crazy how fast it goes. So, all right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day and pretend I didn't say the Q word. And you have a great week, Chief.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.